Okay, welcome to Magento 2 Charlotte. Uh, you can see in front of my screen right here, Magento 2 customer account customization is what we're going to be doing. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, awesome. Yes. This one is going to be a little shorter than we're used to, but just getting right to the point, basically. Yeah, so here we go. Uh, customer account customization. Customer account customization is basically when the customer is logged in, they go to their account section, and what we're going to talk about is what we're overriding default stuff from Magento.
I just kind of
I'll
found the
put
love of
you
my
on
ears.
mute there, buddy. And then removing default links from the menu. That's a very common task that you have to do in Magento 2 as a front end developer. And then adding links. So how would you add a link to the account menu in Magento 2? And then updating an existing section. So, once, let's say you're wanting to change the dashboard the way it looks, how do you find the templates and what are you going to do in there? And then adding completely new sections. That'll be the last part. So a lot of this isn't going to be super complicated. It's just kind of pointing you in the right direction. And then there's a couple of cool things to check out along the way. So the very first thing to know is that we are overriding things in vendor Magento module customer. So let's take a look in there real quick. You can see module customer, this is the vendor folder, has all this stuff in it. It's obviously a module, so it has a lot of things, but what we're looking in is view front end. And then this is kind of obviously as a front end developer, the things that we can override and if you put the files in the right spots in your theme or in your module, then these things are going to be overridden by that. So this is a good place to kind of look around and figure out what is all going on. I'm going to give you obviously the shortcuts past these looking around that will help you. For instance, the first thing I think we're going to do is replace links or update links in the account section. Before that, though, I do want to show you something. So this link right here from Mark Shust, it shows a technique that can kind of be a game changer in Magento 2 development, at least if you're doing code review and you're wanting to know like uh, what is changing. So for instance, if we are in here and we're in the dashboard and we want to override info.phtml, this file is inside of the it's inside the customer account module that's in vendor or module customer inside the Magento vendor folder. So we'll put this info file into our theme, and you can see I have one that already has that. I'll show you in just a minute. The first thing though is we're going to copy this one. So I'll just copy it, Control C, and then I'm going to come up here to my theme, and I'm going to see there it is, templates, account, dashboard, info.phtml. So this would be where you'd paste it and start doing your work for the info section, right? Now, once that work is done, me as a developer, I would commit it to version control, some sort of source control, like Git or most likely Git. And then somebody would probably want to try to do code review, right? Now, that step is going to be a little difficult because let's say, for instance, the file didn't exist in this spot before. It's just going to show everything has been updated. The way that you could do code review, though, is to right click now that we have it copied to our clipboard. And you can see right here, compare with clipboard is going to show us what happened, right? So we had the one, from the default section, and here's what the changes that were made to make this kind of probably look like the comp or whatever changes needed to happen according to the requirements. That is a pretty cool thing. So keep that for later. Here's a link, obviously, to Mark Schuss talking about it. He's probably 10 times more eloquent than me, but I don't think necessarily he hit the like how important this is for code review when he was in this video talking about it. He just showed it as kind of a cool thing, and I was like, aha, there it is. So there you go. You're welcome. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, now that we know where the files are we're overriding for the customer account section, this task that for sure you'll get as a front-end developer, even probably back-end developers get this task, is you've installed Magento, you are adding, or somebody has looked at the account section for logged in customers and they go, what's all this extra stuff? Take this link out, take that link out. We don't have a referral program. Why is there a link to referrals? So um, this is the first place that I'll tell you to take a look. I should say name right there. That's your, oh, this is vendor. Yeah. Okay. So this really though is what we're talking about: Magento customer layout, customer account.xml. This you can see as I have this in a theme, right? Vendor slash theme name app design. This could go in app code, right? Like you could have app code and then a module, right? And you could put an override for Magento customer layout, customer account, and actually might as well just show you that right now. Layout, customer account. There it is. So in a module, we could do the same thing, which is override this. I guess not technically overriding, it's like extending the customer account section. So here it is. This is the place where you would add or remove links on the side nav of a Magento 2 customer account section. It might be helpful for us to look at customer account. I'll just assume you know what a customer account is, and you know what a logged in customer, if they go to my account, what they would see. So I don't necessarily need to show you that. So this is the place, and you can see down here I have a bunch of removes. Remove this, remove that. Each thing has a name. So you just have the name and you say remove true. And that takes the link away. You don't see it anymore. It doesn't disable the module. You could still get to the route if you just typed it in, but the link is gone. So you've pretty much met whatever requirement for someone saying, hey, why does it lead to here? Because as we all kind of know, turning things off in Magento 2 can be kind of a long road of checking different dependencies, and things depend on each other. So a lot of times, as a first step, you'll just want to remove the way to get to somewhere so that it's out of the way for normal customers. And you'll deal with kind of keeping people who know what they're doing out of that, later. And we're not going to touch on how to turn those things off. Obviously, though, you would just want to just disable whatever module it is, and you'll have to deal with its dependencies there. So let me show you though this link right here, and you could just Google. What did I Google to get this? Like Magento to remove account links. You can see this is a place I come probably whenever I'm dealing with this. Right here is a big list of everything you could remove. So bam, there it is. And you can see this is all the stuff, that all the sections, right? And it gives you the right name, the right little ID. It's called a name, but it's more like an ID. And there it is. So that's how you would come in here. And if you want to get rid of the gift registry, just use this one and get rid of it. Or the store credit section, just remove it. And so that's that. We'll move right along to adding new sections, right? So app design, front end, this is going to be vendor, theme name, and then, and again, you could do this as a module. Yeah, module. So now we're in customer account section again, the same place where we were removing things, right? Here it is. And if you want to add a new one, it would be like this. Reference block, and you're just going to say, you're going to tell it what the path is, what the thing should say, what order the sorting should be in. And what is this one? Oh, a class. You can give it a CSS class. Now, sometimes, a lot of times, you wouldn't necessarily want to do this per theme. You could do this, let's say you're selling a module in the module store. You might want that module to automatically add a section to the account menu regardless of the theme, right? So again, we'll come to our kind of example of that in the recurring payments where we overrode that. And you can see that could be done for the module too. So it wouldn't necessarily, or definitely wouldn't matter which theme, as long as this module is turned on, the customer account section would then have the link that you're looking to add to it with this reference block name. And then this name tells you how you're hooking in. So you're saying, I want to hook into the customer account navigation and add this link. Now, what I'm not going to go into would be the back end side of this, right? Where, okay, cool, you added a link that leads to that section. Great. Like you also have to add routes, right? You need the back end to know, hey, when someone comes to this section, add load this page, right? And you can actually see some of that happening here in this other file where it says recurring customer subscriptions. You can see it's at least saying this is the template to load, right? When the person comes to whatever page, I'm guessing there's a route set up somewhere in here, or it's probably actually in the module. Um, that look, it says here customer subscriptions.phtml, and if you go into templates, customers subscription, there it is. Here's the actual HTML that would be used to load this page, and it at least gives you an idea of how it's going to grab that template right there. And yeah, the same thing for a module override. Adding a new section is very similar. Let me just show a couple more things before we wrap up. So you can see inside of customer account, there's quite a few things, and just anytime you override one, so let's say template, the authentication pop-up, this is just HTML, right? And actually this has some knockout involved in it, but we're just editing the HTML. PHTML, similar, you have HTML with classes. The thing that will get a little more involved, because let's say we're going to override customer, the info section is a good example. See, it's a bunch of HTML, right? And you're going to add your CSS in less files ideally for the theme, or maybe you're going to add it in your module to be added to whatever theme. Always try to make sure you're using these escape so that can be translated. And then, yeah, I mean, this stuff at the top, you're going to need for whatever template you're bringing in. But that'll already exist there. So you can pretty much do what you need to do. You might need to add new stuff or update it. The other thing you can do is you can add forms, right? So maybe there's some new form that you need to add. In that case, then you need to set up endpoints on the back end so that your Ajax, you'll add new JavaScript, and your Ajax can call that back end, and that way the form can update what needs to get updated in the back end without reloading the whole page. that would be a more advanced move in this account section. But that's kind of going all the way down the rabbit hole. You've reached full customization at that point, right? Where you're just basically saying, I could do anything in the account section because, I can edit the HTML, PHTML, PHP that's involved here, and the knockout, let's say. And then if you need me to, I can add new JavaScript that will submit to a backend endpoint, and then that endpoint can kind of consume that, sanitize it, whatever, stick it in the database, or do just CRUD, create, read, update, and delete. Haha, I almost forgot delete. And yeah, that's it. So that's the very high level kind of overview of a lot of simple things you'll do day to day as a front end developer, at least as far as adding a new section to the account. And I think it's probably a pretty common thing. So there you go. Quick little primer video on how to do it. Any questions?
No, sir.
Awesome.
No questions. Pretty well explained.
Pretty well.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm just checking.
All good. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Just doing Magento
Just
2 in
trying to-
Charlotte.
Oh, I'm in Atlanta. I'm just
nice.
learning how to be a front end developer. Trying to make a change in my current career right now. So I'm just listening to you guys. I would say some of the terminology I do understand so far. So like the front end. So I do thank you, the both Steves, for that. So.
Of course. Thanks for joining, man.
Yes, sir. Not a problem, boss.
Thanks for having you. Thanks for being here, Mr. Verlin. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me, Steve?
Yeah, I said thanks for joining us.
No, I said thank you, boss. Thank you.
All right.
Yes. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, these types of overrides you mentioned that backend developers also have to do them a lot of the times. I mean, I generally do them through by building a module, but now, I mean, because I was always kind of like not sure when should I do it through the theme, or versus when should I do it through the module, through a module. By the way, yeah, can you kind of explain that? When do you think it's best to take each approach, I guess?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. So, the idea for wanting to do it through a module would be like, well, this stuff I'm doing doesn't apply to a theme. It could be used in any theme, right? So I'm adding this section, let's say something related to extending. We'll have like some new section to the account section. I can't think of an example, but those edits could apply to several themes in the same code base, and it would be fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be when you would want to do that in a module. The time you would want to do it in the theme would be that you are specifically making some visual changes that would be specific just to that theme, and you're not wanting it to apply to other stuff in the code base.
Yeah.
You're not wanting to distribute it ever, because like if you're an agency, you might have some customization stuff that you will do that will apply to many websites. So that might be more appropriate in a module than a theme.
Yes. Good point. And just going, defaulting to a module is kind of like asking for more work anyway, right? Because you got to run setup, upgrade, and all of that.
Well, I mean,
And
I guess for me though too, defaulting to a theme is kind of, um, I guess if you're in a single instance, like
Mhm.
one Magento store in this whole code base, then yeah, it's not gonna really matter too much which way you go. Except
Yeah,
that you can't just easily plop that. You can't just easily plop that module into a different project, right?
yeah, correct.
And so that kind of gives you the key is like, if I could possibly pick this functionality up and stick it into another project and that makes sense to do, then maybe it should be a module. But if that doesn't make sense, like you're doing specific branding or adding certain icons and stuff, then it's really theme related.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
And I just made all that up off the top of my head. So hopefully it's real. No, I'm just kidding.
Giving Mark just a run for his money. You were just saying you're not as eloquent. I don't believe that. But yeah, thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
Is this gonna go? Is this gonna go on YouTube also? Steve T.
Yeah, I'll put it up there.
Okay. Just asking.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll try to remember to make a link to the slides too. That way you have the links and stuff.
Okay. I got a question for you guys, if you have time.
Sure.
Since you two are in the industry, I was having a conversation here in Georgia with a fellow developer, software engineer, and he was telling me basically right now is the best time for me to get in to coding, whether it's web development or anything else, because there will be an influx of people leaving Silicon Valley and basically flooding the market. So if I want to get into industry, I would have to get into it sooner than later. So if you guys have heard anything about like layoffs in Silicon Valley and people being, transferring to North Carolina or Texas?
I have not.
Okay. Just asking.
No,
I
it's all
mean,
good. I mean,
I mean, it's not specific to software development, but I mean, I watched the episode of Joe Rogan, and a lot of people are leaving California for many reasons. I'm assuming the cost of living is one of them. So
I did. Yeah, I left California for that reason.
Yeah.
Oh, you're from California?
Yep.
What,
Yeah.
San Diego or?
I was in LA.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Oof,
I mean,
so
the thing
that's-
about it though is that like those big companies that are in like Silicon Valley, I think probably the people that want to go work for them are gonna work for them and go there no matter what. And if they can get a remote job in other places, that's great. They will, but they want to work at Facebook. They want to work at Google. They want to work at Amazon. And that's that top tier where they're dying to do that. And yeah, even if the housing prices are crazy, probably it's not that big of a concern. I don't think people care. They just want to work there.
Just for the name recognition. Of course, basically to put it on their resume.
Yeah, yep. But not only that, like those big companies, they treat developers really, really well. Whereas like most of the companies I've worked for, they're not like developer first companies, right? They're usually sales. Sales is the kind of the department that runs the whole company. So it's a different atmosphere when really the department that runs the whole company is tech. Then you get kind of more respect, and you get, I don't know. It's a different atmosphere, not sales coming around wagging their tails around, put it that way.
I thought you were gonna say wagging their finger in your face.
Micromanaging.
Yeah. But honestly, dude, to get to the root of your question, I think it is a great time to get into tech. One thing though that you probably should know is getting into the front end of Magento 2 right now. Um, there's a big shift underway. So
Hmm.
there's a new thing coming along, and really what it is that's coming down the pipe right now is Magento 2 is going to get kind of chopped in half, right? So the front end and back end are going to separate, and the front end is going to become something more recognizable as a modern front end of a website. Whereas right now, for the next probably 2 to 5 years, um, all the sites that got upgraded from Magento 1.9 to 2, they have a front end that is very unique to Magento 2. So if you learn that front end, your skills and your knowledge that you're going to get are very highly in demand right now, but that's going to start tapering off in the next few years, and you got to have to learn this other way that pretty much everybody's.
Kind of like guys that learn AWS, Amazon Web Services, right now are getting like 6 figures because they're basically using a platform that right now is in high demand, but not enough people are using it.
Exactly.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, Steve told me, you told me a little bit about it. Now, I'm not a smart person, but I do know one thing is that with technology, we're gonna go through another fourth technology revolution of sorts, kind of like the industrial revolution, but tech will be that fourth revolution. Is what I've been hearing. So I'd rather get into it now than basically be left behind later.
Oh yeah. I think yeah, probably automation. We're going to go through some sort of technical automation where even the jobs we're doing right now, kind of with hammers and um, stone and ooh, look, fire. That
You
stuff is going to be done by
wait, Steve, you code with a hammer?
yeah,
You need
exactly.
to you need to do a meetup on
Yeah,
that.
hammer time. I do the little dance.
um, but I mean, once like I told you, Verlin, this like Magento is e-commerce centered, and especially with COVID going on, e-commerce has kind of skyrocketed,
Exploded.
and then
Shit.
and yeah, so the demand for this for a skill set in Magento or any other e-commerce platform is, um, the demand for that skill set is there, and you know, and it's gonna sustain. It's gonna be there for a while, right? Until we figure out this whole COVID thing. But even without COVID, I mean, e-commerce is the future.
Yeah, and I mean, I think probably not a bad entry point if you want to get into Magento and start making some money quickly, is like learning the admin. Because if you learn the Magento admin, then probably within a few months of like knowing how to do that pretty well, you could get a job managing someone's products and content and stuff, and then work your way towards being a developer.
Nice. Okay, I understand. Yeah, because I know what a front end developer is, back end, and a full stack. So I'm getting a lot of the phrases and the jargon down. I'm not studying too much. I'm gonna be honest with you, but just watching different videos, like the tech lead or see what's that other guy, the one that's really depressing, Joshua. What's his name?
Nick Way?
Sorry,
No, he's not.
jo-
No, it's grind reel or something
Oh
like that.
God, that dude is so depressing.
he's dope, man. Woo!
Joshua Fluke.
That's him.
Yeah,
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 that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
guy.
That's the guy. Yeah. Well, woof. That guy. Wow. I feel bad for him. But anyways,
yeah. I
going
pray
back
for
to
him.
yeah, I do too. Like, I tell myself, yo, don't just watch him in spurts. Don't have like a marathon run, like the tech lead or those other guys, because he can make you feel gloom at the end of it. But I mean, he has 200,000 subscribers, so he must be doing something right.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around. He's legit.
Yeah, he's legit. He's legit. So All right. Yeah, I'll get into it. Thanks, Steve T, for answering my questions.
Of course,
You too,
man.
Steve B.
No problem. Okay then, guys. I'll see you guys at the next one. I'll
All
see
right.
if I can. I'll come up with a topic and host the next one if that's cool with you, Steve.
Yeah, definitely.
When is the next one?
2 weeks from now, most likely.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Okay. Bye. And goodbye, YouTube.
Later. All right. Record. No. What is this? Leave.